Well, here we are again. Isn't it amazing how we can come together like this with simply a video and just talk to each other? And so I trust that this is a day of blessing and relaxing for you. This is Don H. Polston on The Life That Wins. What a great title. Many books. You'll go to my website and you would enjoy an evening with a cup of tea and some books. You have to go there to find out. They're soon to be on ebook, so if you have the ability to download on your iPad, then you can get them. Right now there's only one, and that is The Law of Faith Wins. I've sent that to some pretty fine people in America, and so I trust that you will make it available on your iPad and your download. But today I wanted to talk with you about a matter that I think sometimes is hidden from the church world, and then sometimes it's overemphasized. You know, blessed are the people who can have a leader, a family, a group that live a balanced life. It's so often that people, in one way or another, whether it's religious or political, financial, whatever building they may be in, or educational, they get clear out of balance. It seems like the real person is not there anymore. And I think that can happen even in the church world, that you're not just who you ought to be. But today, I want to emphasize again that The Life That Wins deals with reality. Now you may think that's true with all teachings. No, they deal with an illusion. They deal with a pictorial ideal that should be in the life of the Christian. But I have to stay with St. Paul. You know, in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, he lists some things that Christians will go through. And many times, not only Christians, but the unbelievers and the sinners, because it's part of God's way of awakening people and bringing them to the knowledge of Christ. He said, we are troubled on every side. Does that sound encouraging? It's like, oh, I don't need to hear that. I've already got troubles on every side. Yes, I know. We're in trouble as a people, as a nation. We're in trouble sometimes as a family. You know, children disobey, and sometimes husband is not as thoughtful that he should be. Wife doesn't have that attitude of love and servitude. And so we're in trouble. We get in trouble physically. Sometimes there's a conflict between my being healed by medical, or do I depend totally upon miracle? Those are not easily solved questions. So Paul said, we are troubled on every side. And that word troubled, it carries all of those words in there in that 2 Corinthians chapter 4. It carries some very interesting things. Troubled. We are troubled. It means that we are pushed along, sometimes pushed along like a crowd is around us. The Greek word there has to do with being crowded and jostled along. I had that experience literally when I was coming out of old Jerusalem and going through the Damascus gate. There were so many people trying to get out of that gate and get to the other side that they just literally almost carried me along, just jostling me along. And I thought, oh my, somebody could get your pocket, get your money, or put a knife in your back. You never know who did what to who. No more, I guess, than trying to get out of the Yankee Stadium with, 60,000, 70,000 people trying to get out of that place. But that's what it means to be troubled. It's like being pushed along, carried along by a crowd. But he said, okay, we are troubled, but we are not disheartened. We are not distressed. Wow, that's really heavy. You know, when we had our daughter in our home, and Victoria. Sweet, wonderful mother today, wife. But when she was about, I don't know, maybe 12, 15, something like that in there, we bought some furniture and we thought we would distress it. You recall what that was like? We would take, chains and hammers or whatever, and we would distress that furniture, and then you paint over it, and it has an antique look. Well, it worked for a while. I think she loved it, and that was all necessary. But Paul said, we are not disheartened. We are not distressed. We are persecuted, but we do not have a sense of giving up and falling over and become disheartened or distressed, like we've been beat, like you would distress furniture. No. We may bear in our bodies the marks of the Lord Jesus, as Paul said, but we are not disheartened. The economy is bad, jobs are lost. It seems like our government is going in the opposite direction of our founding fathers, and we're all aware of these things. But we're not disheartened. I say that sincerely. Check over your life, check over your finances, see what you can do to make it match and come out. But in the end, we know that it's my God who shall supply all of our needs. Now, friend, if you don't believe that, you're going to be in terrible shape, especially today, the way things are. But I do believe it, and I'm sure you do. The life that wins is to put heart in you. We are to put spirit in you. We are to ignite the fire in you. My purpose in all my preaching and teaching and writing for many years was for the purpose of taking you as you are and bringing you to what you should be or want to be. It's not forcing you into it. It's letting you see this is the better way to go. And hopefully you're with people that show you that, It'd be quite disheartening to be in a church or with a people who professed everything and yet could not show you a life that's winning, a life that's victorious and overcoming. Yes, Paul said we are distressed. But we're not distressed. Sorry, we are not distressed. We are not disheartened. We don't give up. He said we're not in despair. That's a strong word, which means we're not utterly defeated. I have to tell myself that off and on, that as I was growing up as a young man with my family, living in different parts of the United States, and spending many years in San Antonio, establishing a new little church. We did establish it, built a new building, got a new parsonage, and it was growing. Lovely people there. They still call us. That's been years ago. And but we never let ourselves fall into being in despair. That is like being utterly defeated. No, we're not utterly defeated. I know when I was going to build this church in San Antonio on West Avenue, if you lived there, that's before John Hagee moved in and took the city by faith, did a great job too. But I went down, looked at a piece of ground. In those days, 2.5 acres, it was quite a lot for a new church. Today it's like a parking lot. But in those days, it was quite a thing. And I looked a lot over and thought, we could build a church here. And so my DS told me, you can't build there because there's a restriction. You'd have to get the whole subdivision to sign. Well, I went downtown, got a hold of a lawyer. I don't know how I got a hold of him, but he was the most powerful man in the city. Took me all through his offices in the back. There he was, big shot. And he said, what do you want? I said, I want that piece of ground on West Avenue. Told him where it was. He picked the phone up. And boy, he had power. He picked the phone up, and just in a few moments, he had a guy on the line. And, hello, John. Yeah, that's just a so-and-so. And like an old Texan, he said, I got a preacher over here. He winked at me and he said, he's the greatest preacher in San Antonio. I thought, oh, that's good. And he said, I want to get that ground. All right, I will. And so he said, come back tomorrow and I'll have the papers for you. And I came back and he